to Life, which is part of our medical TV health and wellness series of talk shows and conversations. Today, want to reintroduce you to my good friend and client, Mark Colo. And he, for many years, was an executive, a top executive within the transportation industry, and his focus was relocating genius doctors and medical researchers and all their equipment and brain samples and everything absolutely 100% safe. And to that extent, he became famous
Yeah.
within the stem cell industry and everything else, with giant size medical geniuses asking for Mark's help. And he gave it time after time. Mark Colo has become chairman of the Patient Advisory Board for a startup company, a medical research company located here in San Diego. Mark, tell us the name of the company, please.
Yes, the company is KENAI Biotechnology,
And that's spelled KENAI.
KENAI, correct.
Okay, and this is therapeutics, and it has to do with brain research. Is that it?
Brain,
Molecules and
it
things like
is
that?
it is to deal with brain research, but it's also in the future. The end goal in the future, we're going to have off-the-shelf drugs available for patients that will have a vetted pharmaceutical product that will help that person overcome uh, Parkinson's and overcome the difficulties of living with Parkinson's. I don't know yet. We don't know if it's going to be a cure-all, or we don't know how soon we'll have a solution. It's bound to be a little bit longer, but we're hopeful it'll be not too long. And we're just excited about that we're on a path that we feel is a sure path, and it has so much research and backing behind it. We got funded for about $80 million in funds for this venture. And we had a great team built, got some great intelligent men who know a lot about running a business and know a lot about Parkinson's, and they're just great resources. And I
Okay,
think,
so you are a patient yourself for many years
correct.
now. 14 years, is it, or is it 16?
No, it's been 20 years almost,
Oh my God. Yeah.
long
Okay.
time.
Yeah, okay. And so you are dealing with that, but because of you and your personality and your mission, and I'm in the public relations business, so I'm going to make everything sound wonderful. But you are on a concerted effort. You've devoted your life now to helping people who are patients and the family members of patients. And that's what you see behind me here, part of this individual and family members. This is what Mark created and some years ago, and he's now is full circle, bringing it forward with this new position as chairman of the Patient Advisory Board for KENAI Therapeutics. And Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong, but uh, individuals who are patients and the family members, everybody's impacted, right?
Everybody is impacted, and it impacts everybody differently. I mean, some people I think are just born to be caregivers. That is one of the hardest jobs I can imagine, is being an ongoing 24/7 caretaker. It's not easy. And it's just the expenses alone that a family will incur when a primary breadwinner in the home gets a disease like Parkinson's. You could easily spend 25% of your income just paying the bills and keeping up with the medical bills. It's not easy. It's a pretty daunting challenge to have to face.
So you call this like this graphic thing behind me here, and I'll try to get out of the way here, is the perimeter of hope.
Yes.
In other words, surround, the environment, the surroundings, the direct connections that family members and friends have because of the loved one who has got the Parkinson's. Let's say Parkinson's or ALS or whatever. Mark, why don't you talk to us about the perimeter of hope?
I would love to. What we did is we gave it quite a bit of thought, had quite a few planning meetings to come up with what do we want to propose as our service model? What do we want people to think of when they think of our organization? And so we all put our heads together and we identified 6 primary areas that make up our service model. You can see the first one. I've got to give me a larger image that I can see here, so I don't go
Uh,
out, or I tend to do that sometimes. But first of all, we wanted to help grow the educational forum out there that provide information about these diseases, and not just Parkinson's, but other diseases as well. I mean, there's some other diseases that come along called ALS, and that's really an unmerciful type of a disease to get. It's just tough to manage. But so we want to be considered good experts, knowledgeable experts to cover many more diseases, but primarily we're focusing on Parkinson's. So
right. And Dr. Howard Fetterman is the founder, CEO, and of course a good friend of yours. And so talk to us and talk to the audience about Dr. Fetterman.
okay. Well, first of all, I want to mention I've been in the transportation and real logistics industry, which includes an element of storing of products. But I was affiliated for most of my career with United Van Lines. I was a 5-time member of the United Van Lines sales team and sales club. And that was over a period of about, well, probably about 20 years, in fact. I worked for about six different major van lines. Most of my time was with United. That's where had most of my success. And I met Howard because one of my clients at the time was a company or a group called UC Irvine. It's one of the largest universities in California and in the nation, for that matter. And I did primarily, I moved executives all around the country for these incoming scientists or faculty member or staff members who were coming to work at the campus in Irvine, California, where the headquarters is for UC Irvine. And so I got into that position where I got to know a lot of the higher up executives at the campus. I got to know the chancellor, and then I got a call one day from my primary contact who would initiate these move requests. And my client her name was Diane. She said, "Hey, Mark, I need some help." I says, "Oh, sure, Diane. What do you need?" She says, "Well, I've got an executive I'm moving from Georgetown University. He's moving cross country to our campus here. And he's got a laboratory. He has a staff of team members. They're trying to find cures for various neurological diseases. And I just need you to tell me that you can do a lab move and you get it out here in great shape." I said, "Wow, it sounds like a pretty pins and needle opportunity here. I'm excited about it, but wow, what are your concerns about this particular move?" And Diane just out with it. She said, "Well, Mark, I got to tell you candidly, if you mess this up, I'm going to lose my job." So I can see why she was under pressure there a little bit. And I said, wow, Dan, I have done laboratory moves. I'll contact your client, your incoming client, and I'll take care of it. Don't worry about a thing. I said, okay, Mark, because I'm counting on you. So she gave me Howard's number. Howard Federoff was, at the time, he was a director of neurology at Georgetown University. And they had a large division there as well that worked on neurological diseases and such. And so I called him directly. I said, Howard, uh, I understand that Diane at UC Irvine wants to move you from Georgetown University to Irvine, California. Is that correct? He said, oh, yes. And he says, I'm glad you called. I've been waiting for this call. I said, what's your biggest concern about this relocation, Howard? Howard, he said, he didn't hesitate much. He just said, well, I'm moving my life's work. I've got um, a few concerns here. The temperature in these freezers cannot be cannot rise or decrease by more than 3 degrees, or it'll damage my samples and they'll be no use to me. So I said, first of all, I can't lose anything. I can't damage anything. I can't have a problem where I can't replace, heaven forbid, an important specimen. I said, Howard, I want you to know we have the equipment, we have the manpower. I can get this done for you as well as anyone can. He says, okay, well, I need your guarantee, he said. Well, it's hard to just say, yeah, I'll guarantee that when you know there's so many human factors involved in that. So anyway, I stretched this probably a little bit longer than I should, but when I talk about this story and this first experience, it amazed me. You know, one of my credos or one of my adaptive principles with my life and with Parkinson's is that there are no coincidences, just miracles. And I have seen miracles happen over the course of moving people from coast to coast, literally from coast to coast. That's some amazing things happen. So that's a little bit about how I got in touch with Howard. Now, Howard contacted me I want to say it's about 6 or 7 months ago. And he said, Mark, what are you up to these days? And I said, well, I'm still keeping the cause going, still trying to spread the word about Parkinson's and what our organization is trying to do and accomplish. And he said, oh, that's great, that's exciting. He said, do you think you could do something for me that won't take too much time during the week? Well, you know, I'd never really been a chairman of the board for a large organization like this. And so I really wasn't sure what I was getting into in some ways. And he said, well, he said, gee, I'd sure love to have you come on board and help us with a responsibility I have to fill. And so he said, would you be the chairman of the board for our patient advisory board? And they also call them patient advisory committees as well. But ours is referred to as a board. So I said, you know, let me give it a little bit of thought, Howard, but I'm inclined to say yes, but can I get back to you tomorrow or the next day? He said, sure. So that's how we started. We've got about 5 board members of our committee. One, is Larry. Ed, you know Larry pretty well. And that's where we're at right now. I'm still going through a steep learning curve in many ways, but I'm passionate about what we're trying to do. And I'm passionate about helping people that are in need of help, you know, and don't know who to turn to.
So let's talk about the perimeter that you see on the screen there.
Okay.
This is organizing all the different things that happen and that you have figured out uh, how to communicate the meaningfulness that the family of a patient, they're not alone. You're there to help. And there are other people who are interested in supporting people who are afflicted and the families. And you figured out there's one, two, three, four, five, six
Yeah,
buckets, if you will,
yeah,
uh, buckets of stuff, of information, of helpfulness that you have figured out what you could have used and what others who are less fortunate, they still have the needs. And life can get difficult. So you're there to provide a safety valve.
yeah. It really is, for many people, a feeling that they are alone, you know, because these diseases are so complicated. And although these brilliant scientists have found some wonderful support pills and pharmaceutical products to try and help weather the storm and carry these people into a place of hope, a little bit more hope for the future. That's why we named it the perimeter of hope, obviously, because our goal is to build hope around an individual who might all of a sudden feel it's hopeless. And it's never hopeless, never hopeless. And we've done some things for people. Just they were so thankful. We had a young lady that she was going to college. She had gone through a divorce. She had a young son, and the son wanted to go to college. And they wanted to go to a college that was based in California. And so we contacted them, talked to them about about her son and how much education he has, how much he needs to get his degree. And we found out during the course of talking to her that her son had autism, and he had it for sometimes they don't even know somebody has autism until it pops up somewhere down the road. But he had the symptoms were clear that he had autism. So he was having a hard time going back to school because his mother was working full time now to pay the bills. And so we ended up paying for and making a donation to her for all of her own tuition, so she could go back and finish her degree, and for all of the expenses for her son that had the autism. And eh, we did things for her and her son that are things I'm convinced could not have done by anyone else or in any way nearly as well as we did it. And so she wrote us a nice letter. I'll send that to you, Ed. I think I've sent it to you before, but great testimonial letter about how we stepped up to the plate. We helped her. We're the only resource close to that could have done that for them. And it's just great. It's a great example of helping one of these patients.
So everybody out there, if you know someone who has Parkinson's, uh, reach out to Mark. Mark David Colo, that's Colo, Mark David Colo at gmail.com. Or you can reach out to me and I can connect you with Mark. My email is publisher at global business, one word, globalbusiness.media, MEDIA, publisher at globalbusiness.media, and I'll be glad to make an intro or referral. But you need to look at this chart closer up by contacting Mark. He'll send you all the material and information. There's help out there. Again, my job is a public relations guy, and Mark Colo is the brains and the energy behind the perimeter of help. Mark, thank you very much for being on Global Business News TV. The series again is To Life.
Thank you, Ed. It's always enjoyable to be with you.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy, I enjoy our friendship and look forward to
Yeah,
our
great.
next talk.
Peace.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks.